25 years ago, and I had 4 little boys, we decided we were going to do the homeschooling thing. I realized I had to get a grip on my 24 hours. Now remember that phrase because I'm going to use it a lot today. So I established a schedule to get me in the game and in the groove for managing my time instead of letting my time get away from me. Fast forward 15 years, I was introduced to plexus. We knew this was the thing we were praying for to meet our family goals for our future. The dream that would make all the difference. So like I mentioned, I had a full plate. All that goes with homeschooling, 11 kids, ages 1 to 19. Helping my hubby with his business, like I mentioned. I found and created places in that established routine where I could work my business. Everything continued to flow as it should with homeschooling, meals, family projects, gardening. Now we did sacrifice some things. Some things fell out by the way for a while. But for the most part, it kept going. So when I hit emerald, sapphire, and then diamond, in less than 2 years, everyone wanted to know how I did it. Well, I'm here to tell you that even if plexus had come into my life many years before, I feel I would have found a way to do it because we needed it so badly. But I do attribute much of my success to having that routine in place. So maybe you're cringing when you hear the words schedule and routine. Because I understand different personalities find it frustrating or limiting to think about getting a grip on your 24 hours. Some personalities find it appealing. But this isn't about whether it's easy or hard for you. It's realizing it's a necessity for being the CEO of your business. Well, why do I need to go? That was amazing.
Oh, I do have a little bit.
Oh, sorry. So my point is, we all have a version of busy, and we all have 24 hours. We're here to share our experience to say that we extend grace for you, whatever season you're in. However, we want to try to give you practical tips that you can establish the routine for you, get it all done, and be successful if it's what you choose. Okay, DK?
I love that you ended with that, if that's what you choose. Keith Callahan was on our team call a couple weeks ago, and one of the first things he said was, silver is a decision. I was like, it really is. So is really tweaking the way you do things in your home. They realize that that is a decision and that you can learn those skills. That's why we're here today, to hopefully empower you. We're going to have resources for you, all the things. But first of all, I just want to tell you who I am. So you're like, why do I want to listen to her? My name is Bridget Kroll. I usually go by BK, so you can call me that if you see me around. My husband, Sparky, is here. His name is David. You can call me Sparky or David. He calls me other things. Now, and I will tell you that when I met my husband at 25, I waited for this man, okay? And he waited for me. So we met, we talked, he interviewed me, I'm like, what's with all the questions? And so we knew, from the get-go, if this was the dude, we were gonna homeschool, and I was gonna be a stay-at-home mom. We knew our values, right? That foundation on which we stood. And so, we had babies right away. We wanted a big family. God gave us 6. There are 2 in heaven. These are our precious 4. And I will tell you, I'm a crazy free spirit. Like everybody else. So, God put me with the military systematic man who would take the diaper back and be like, needs one if I reorganize this a little bit. And I'm like, have fun. Have a great time. And it helps so much. Anyway. When Plexus came around in 2016, we had already had our routine laid out for years. And so my mouth is getting dry. So you guys, our first 2 children, 15 months apart, and I was already drowning. This is without Plexus. I was like, how am I going to have more babies? I want 1 million, like Brenda. And you know what? We set up simple things in our home. We had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We watched that clock, okay? Nap time, we stayed on it. And I remember looking around at my friends going, you all need this too, because I have so much more peace during the day, knowing what's coming next, right? I was able to be more present and things weren't as chaotic. Honestly, when Plexus came in 2016 and I caught the vision for the business, I was like, oh, this will fit right in. I know exactly where I'm going to put this. I talked to my husband, and that's why we're here, is really to share with you some of those tools, and so you can go back and honestly make some little tweaks and changes that will allow you to thrive in your business. We want to see you grow. You guys grow into amazing leaders, grow your points, grow your team, and your most important thing is always going to be growing those babies. Number one, so we're going to talk priorities, all sorts of things. Let's get going. Are you doing this or are we going on? Let's go on. Off script a little bit. How about this? You're good. Yes, it works, right? So, close your eyes for a minute. So you're at home, you're pulling out your IPA sheet, your planner, you're going to start working your business. What are the feelings that come up? Excited? No. Or are you one of these women up here? We have kind of put people into 3 categories that we have kind of noticed with this business. The crazy work queen that's like constant, like getting it all done, never a break. The mom is paralyzed by fears. She's just not sure what to do. She's fear of, has the mom guilt, fear of missing out with her kids, so she doesn't do anything. Or the overwhelmed victim that has all the reasons and all the excuses because her life is just crazy, so she can't work it in, so she doesn't. I would love to just choose one of those for myself. Maybe I have multiple personalities or something, but I have been all 3 of those, off and on, truly for 8 years. We are human, right? Here we go being human again. We are going to go through seasons of facing these things, but we don't want you to be identifying with these things anymore and telling yourself, I'm this. So by the end, you'll have something new, a new identity to put on. I just want to ask you, do you feel like you are forever stuck here? Have you decided that you don't want to be stuck there anymore? That you want to do things differently in your home, with your children, with the right priorities? Do you actually believe that it's possible? Do you? Because silver is a decision, and this is possible too. We're going to nix it. You're like, no. So, onward. So, we want you to ditch the shame. That's what this is for. Not be hard on yourselves. But self-awareness is where it has to start with. And when you can see yourself clearly, you can often see the path more clearly, what you need to do to get your act together, get a grip on your 24 hours. So let's get into where that starts for us. Priorities and vision. You guys, the very basis of our lives, but also our business, I really believe starts with our core values in our home. Those are your top convictions. Those are your top truths. I want to challenge you, if you and your husband and your children do not know what those top values are yet, it's really important to nail those down, okay? Because once you know your core values, for our family, and my husband I'm sure could add some too, our top 3 core values would be walking in the truth, honoring one another above ourselves, right? And freedom. Now, we probably have a dozen. There's so many things. Integrity, right? Hard work, excellence in what you do. But when you know those things, then when you go to make your priorities in your home, you can order them. You're like, boom, my faith, boom, my husband, then my kids, then my business. And then when we get, to implementing, you are going to be able to set up your simple routine that aligns with your family's core values. And we're here to talk about joy. We want you to feel joyful to work your business. We want your children seeing you on your phone like, sometimes. So I was like that. I know my kids, I got so used to hearing me talk to my team. They'd be like, was that Janessa? I'm like, yeah, that was Janessa. Or they'd be like, is that lady pooping yet? I'm like, yes. They're watching, and they know how to dose probiotics and bioclines like better than I do now. Anyway. But truly, when you know your core values, then you'll be able to be like, nope. No Netflix during the week for me because I know our family's priorities. Or you'll say, yes, I'm going to do a couple of, protected hours on Saturdays at the library for the rest of the month because of our priorities of where we're going. So I really do believe you can't do it all, but you can nail the non-negotiables. I just had a conversation last night with somebody and she was like, I just need to get better at balancing these things. And I'm like, I'm a firm believer that it's bologna sandwich. Because you can't balance things that are unequal in weight. Like if I have to choose between reading to my children for that half an hour that I've committed to and, getting on a Zoom call, because of my priorities and my core values, I'm going to choose my children every time. So you need to prioritize those things, get rid of the fluff, and you'll better be able to say your yeses and nos.
Yes.
Yeah?
Are you finished?
Am I finished? You guys, I need glasses.
Okay. So let's move on to vision. Family vision is to us what we want our lives to look like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road. We didn't know how to put that into words 32 years ago, but we had someone tell us, you can rise above how your parents raised you. You can do better for the next generation. And it impacted us and it became our vision. For us, it was just to raise our kids to be better than us. We just wanted to raise better humans, do better things, bigger things, impact more people than we have. It was also to have options for our future and not be limited by finances. That was a big part of our vision. We had never known a life what that was like. And knowing what we wanted 20 years down the road has influenced all the daily decisions we made for our family. So there's a lot of areas I could touch on when it comes to family vision. Education for your kids, loving God's word, teaching your kids on that. Marriage, child training. But the one thing we prayed for and worked towards, especially raising 8 sons, was to be able to have financial success to support them in starting their lives, because we didn't have that when we got married. And as we grow older, we see entrepreneur spirits in our children because they were raised with us doing home businesses. We just really wanted to have finances for options, and plexus fit perfectly in that family vision. How many of you know what we're talking about? You have plexus as part of your family's future vision. Another part of our vision was developing work ethic in our children. And so y'all, when I talk today about your routine, your work ethic, kids are watching. You desire to make a difference for them now so they can make a difference in their world later. Managing your days, it can be a big part of making the vision happen. My question to you is, what do you want your family to look like 10, 20 years from now? Are you doing the daily actions to make that happen? I'm assuming for most of you, a successful plexus business fits that. But if you're not finding the success you want, I want to challenge you that maybe it comes back to lack of management of your time. Time management, we'll get to in a little bit. Those are fighting words for some of you. Oh, I know that. So, after, chatting core values and vision, I want to bring up the idea of regular family meetings. Maybe you want to call them shareholder meetings. Maybe you already do this at home. Regular meetings, even with your spouse. This can be as simple as 15 minutes on Saturdays where you reconnect. Maybe you pray for your business together. Maybe you talk about some concerns. Maybe you decide that you're going to tweak your schedule and your routine, which Brenda will be going into here soon. But this is the time when you draw your family in, and I feel like this is super important. I know for me, when I was going Emerald,
thanks to Kristen Abert. She was way up in my line, and she's like, what are you doing? You're at 1,200 points. And she said, it's time, like, let's go. I said, you're right. So I went to my husband, and I'm like, okay, this month is gonna be crazy because I'm prepping to go Emerald next month. And so we talked about how our lives might tweak a bit. I did extra meal planning for that month ahead. My children knew that I would be a little bit busier. And it really did allow us to not lose that connection in the complete craziness. Because there are times when, there was a lot of the extra fluff had to go. We were not doing our normal reading times every single day while I was going Emeralds. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure, because I think this is important too, what is a shareholder? And the definition is right here, and I can read this actually. It is the owner and partners who will reap the benefits of a business's success. Isn't that beautiful? For me and for my husband, we really wanted our children to be like, that's our family business, and proud that we were with plexus. And I wanted them to know that I wasn't like playing video games on my phone. You know what I mean? When I was going Emerald, I remember our oldest was like, Mom is going Emerald this month. You guys, having a whiteboard up for your shareholder meetings, letting your children into maybe even seeing your customers' names, your business builders' names. I mean, my kids ask about my sweet business builders, and we pray about our team around our table together. So draw your family in, set up a date night, make it special, and decide, I'm going to treat this like I'm the CEO of my business, and we're going to have staff meetings. Okay?
So these resources we have up here can be found in the Plexus Go app. If you just want to use them as a guide to help you move forward in some of these areas. Okay, were you finished with that? Do you want to finish a little more? Okay, that's perfect, perfect. Okay, so I'm speaking from the perspective to you guys as a homeschooling mom, home birthing, having our home business, like that's our lifestyle. But I understand everybody has different lifestyles. But that's what's so cool about the flexibility of this business. So what I'm hoping is the things that we share with you today is stuff that you can take and make it work for your family. It can fit your lifestyle because we all have 24 hours. You can find or make moments where you can work this. I have seen, you know the diamond stories, there's all kinds. It's a matter of designating your time in your 24 hours. So my last tip on this subject is my biggest one. So if you don't remember anything else, remember this. You have to learn to say no. What can you scratch out of your life, out of your schedule, for a season, to make your vision happen? Let's not let our lifestyle be an excuse for not building your plexus business for your family, but let it be the fuel to build a better lifestyle, because you have options and you have decisions you can make to make the life you want and bring in that extra paycheck. So again, you can find these digital resources in the Plexus Go app.
So with all of that, we do have to move into the whole habit arena, because we all have yeah, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Because we know that we have good habits and there are bad habits. We also know that good habits will serve you, both in your home and in your business. Those bad habits, they're going to make you serve them. They'll be like, why am I doing this? Why am I checking my phone every 5 seconds? And I'm never present with my babies. You guys, that is so important to me in our home, right? Being present right there and then. This means that for me, with my personality and the way my brain works, I cannot do as much multitasking as maybe someone else can, and that is okay. We have to get honest with ourselves. Which habits are not serving us, or our homes, or our children? Nix them out. Decide which ones need to stay or go. I was not at the Star Diamond training this year, but I will be next year with so many of you, right? Right? But in January, I believe it was Phil Jones, came and he asked the question of the room full of star diamonds. And he said, what can you do in your business to build momentum and turn your team around? So there were people answering. You know what he ended up saying? Do the basics to a high standard consistently. And I'm like, that says habits all over it. So we gotta get used to those basic habits daily. I'm gonna give you a quick example that really worked for me, creating those habits early on, and it was, I was not going to go into Messenger and open up messages until I knew that I was going to go in and answer those messages. So I was like, I'll get to that later, I'll get to that later. Also for a season, I was like, I cannot open up my phone until 10 a.m. because my brain cannot handle it. I want to be in my Bible, I want to be with my kids, start the day all right? In The Slight Edge, great book if you're working on your personal habits by Jeff Olson, he says, what you do today matters. What you do every day matters. Successful people do the things that seem to make no difference in the act of doing them, and they do them over and over again until that compound effect kicks in. It's not so good. All Jeff Olson. Go get the book. Quick action step for you. If you're taking notes, or if you're in Messenger or text on your phone, and you're like, you have a little chat with your hubby, text him. Or your bestie, that one habit that you know if you did it consistently, it would pay off in your home and in your business. I'll bet you there's something that you're like, there's that one good habit. I don't want you to focus too much on the bad habits right now, but that's something again to talk over, right, with your husband in a shareholder meeting or with an upline. Okay, check out the slide. This is one of my favorites. It should be up on the wall of our home, I feel like, right, Sparky? Do you like that? Is that a good one? Immediate gratification lives for the moment. Delayed gratification lives for the movement. The movement, I'm like, that says growth all over it, right? We want the growth of those plexus points. We want to see our teams grow those paychecks, right? Our customers grow in their results and then come work with us and hang out. But in order to really set up these habits, we got to listen to this one because it's going to take some discipline to get those in line.
This is a word that some of you may not like to think about, but it is super important to be successful. End of story. Ask any successful person, they would agree. I'm sure you'd all say you're aware of that. And I'm not here to say that I'm perfect at it, but I have some tips that have helped me so much. Okay, so number one, become aware of which tasks come easily for you and which ones take more work and effort. And then number two, become aware of the times of day where you are at your best energy, physically, mentally, or emotionally, and work those tasks accordingly. For example, I'm at my best in the morning. That's when I'm at my best energy, so that's when I'm in customer follow-up and all the things that take more energy. In the afternoon, because those are my two main work times. I have my 2-hour slot in the morning and my 2-hour slot in the afternoon. When I can do things that are a little more relaxing and don't take as much brain, like social media, making graphics, whatever. I have an amazing VA now to make my graphics, but I was looking for you. I'm sure you're in here. I don't know where she is. But I think the biggest key with discipline is doing what needs to be done first. The most important first, and then your fun or more pleasant thing later. Procrastination is my pet peeve. It's anti-discipline. And until you learn to master the temptation to give in to procrastination, you will always struggle with discipline. So, back to the priorities and vision we talked about. Discipline is imperative to achieving those dreams. Without getting your act together, getting a grip on your 24 hours, you will stay on this hamster wheel and always feel overwhelmed and unaccomplished. I might be stepping on toes. My friend Sheila, I don't see her in here, but she told me yesterday I'm supposed to slap her across the head. And I said, I'm not going to do that here, but I will step on toes because it's what needs to be done. You have to do it whether you feel like it or not. I did multiple phone calls with 102 fever to build my business. I did so many things like that. I can't even, we're losing time here. Act as if there is no other option. And remember, procrastination is the killer of discipline.
It is. Okay.
So practical implementation.
I feel like all of this has been really practical. Do you feel that?
Yes.
I hope so.
Hopefully it's not overwhelming because we're going to go home and it's going to be one thing at a time. But we all have the same amount of minutes in a day, 1,140 minutes in a day. So are you telling these minutes what to do? Because this is when you need to get a bit bossy. My husband literally taught me this skill, you guys. It's so humbling that a grown woman at 27 was like, I don't know what to do during my days with my little ones. But when I knew what was coming next, I mean, it helped immensely with prioritizing, and it helped protect me from procrastination. Because I'm like, that's what's next on the clock. That's what's next in my list. And I am doing this because I gotta get this guy out of the military. So that why, you gotta grab onto it and do the things to move you in that way. Yes, time management can cause certain people, like me, certain feelings of maybe imprisonment. You feel like you're gonna be like stuck in this box, or total freedom. I'm telling you, it has freed up my life. It has. You have to trust the process. That's something my uplines always told me. They said, you're gonna have to get to it, do the things consistently. And you know what I decided to do? I decided to take that and put it into my home too. That stuff adds up in your home that you're doing with your children. The time management is gonna bless your home, right? Those things add up. The compound effect of reading with your children, the compound effect of sending out the business reach outs every single day, right? So what if we just thought of these like time blocks, those are bad words for some people, time blocks, as like bite-sized time slots. Children can learn to wait and be like, Mama, excuse me. And be like, okay, honey, I'll be right with you. Our 3, almost 4-year-old learned that when I started Plexus. I did everything at my iPad at the counter because I didn't want to be running around my home with my phone just for me. That was my best bet. He learned so much from that. Time management, our children will also, they will learn from us.
Yes.
Okay?
True.
No. So, protected hours, quickly gonna just touch that very lightly. Basically, how I went to the top of this company was bite-sized time slots and some protected hours where I was not scrolling, where I knew exactly what I was going to do without my children around. It was usually the local library on Saturdays for 3 to 4 hours. I set up my family with an egg bake, put in the oven, and be like, I'll be home at noon, baby. And you guys, I felt so freed up for the rest of the weekend. That is the freedom we want for you. Get it done, like go work hard, and then go play hard.
Yes.
Awesome. Oh, I love all that. You guys feel like this is giving you some stuff to work on?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. Like I mentioned before, when I started homeschooling, I couldn't figure out how to work schooling into what I thought was a full day already. Kitchen work, changing diapers, laundry, grocery shopping, you guys know the drill. But a friend told me about a book that guided moms into making a schedule to follow daily, and it was the first time I'd ever planned out my day. It changed everything. My babies were even happier. We didn't get it established overnight, and we often had days or weeks that were complete flops, but we continued to work at it until our days became smooth. Yes, that's what it was. We started with one thing, getting meals on time. And these are some more practical resources you guys can find in the Plexus Go app. But when I started with the meals on time, that just freed up my brain and everything. I started with a weekly menu. I make 2 weeks at a time, but that was crucial. Next, we worked on our morning routine. Each child knew what was expected of them upon rising, and they often took pride in accomplishing their morning list. They had to report to me when they were done, and they would come and they say, Jesus, Plexus breakfast chores. And they run off their list, they knew they were done. But we got our school time worked in next to specific time slots of our day. I had mandatory 2-hour afternoon downtime. Olders went outside, middles had their quiet book time or another quiet project. Little ones napped. And this was my me time back when I was so exhausted before plexus. So what did it turn into when I found plexus? It was when I could work my business. No, the kids knew they couldn't bother me unless there was blood or fire. Establishing this routine, like I said, did not happen overnight, but it did happen with discipline and consistency. You'll have days when you'll scratch the schedule because of sickness or other activities coming up, but you get back on the horse the next day. You'll have days when you'll do basics of your daily routine and skip some things just to catch your breath, but you'll get back on the horse the next day. Do you see that pattern? It's not something you implement next week and you're good to go. You stick with it as part of habits and discipline until it becomes a well-oiled machine. And it can work, y'all. And it brings so much peace. So last tip, a good routine will take care of your mom guilt. I want you to understand this. Because your kids want to do something with you. You're like, I feel so bad working my plexus business, they want to play. You tell them playtime comes in 30 minutes. And they're happy for that. They'll wait for that and you stick to your word. Okay, your children are watching. When they see discipline, your hard work, you achieving their goals, it impacts them, and they do amazing things someday. Your turn. So,
I'll take over now. Okay, so I'm talking delegation. I'm talking delegation for your children. Does that scare you a little bit? Anybody have preschoolers in here? Oh my goodness, so many. Preschoolers can be given little jobs to fulfill. And while it might seem a bit time-consuming in the beginning, they will take great pride in stepping in and being a part of the family unit. They're a special part of our family unit, aren't they? You guys, from a very young age, again, this was my husband, he's like, I feel like Lucy and Liam, they're like 3 and 2. He's like, I really feel like they can put away their own clothes. I was like, and fold them? Really? Okay. So I literally, I came home one night and he rearranged our bedrooms to have all the bureaus in one room and then 2 sets of bunk beds in the other room. And he's like, we're gonna put all the regular play clothes on the bottom. Guys, it worked. We would go in, fold all of our laundry all together, and then they would put away their clothes. To this day, I don't do no laundry. It has been years and years and years. And you guys, they knock it out way faster than I do. This can start at an early age. Something that really helped delegation-wise for me, because along with Brenda, my spicy, bright time really is in the morning. So I knew I had to do some of the hard things. Those reach outs, those messages from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. This worked for me, you guys. My kids were already breakfasting and taking care of that business on their own. Remember, Sparky? I think we did like overnight oats, and they made eggs. And that was our 9 and 7-year-old taking care of the 2 youngest. And they were eating together already. So when I came out of my bedroom, no phone, I was like, good morning, children. You guys, I did. There was a part of me that already felt victorious about my day because I had knocked some things out. It's like the SEALs tell you to, make your bed first thing. It's that first victory of the day. For me, might not always be making my bed first, but you better believe I'm knocking out those messages. So they were given that, they ran with it. I want to encourage you to give your kids some of those things. It's not going to be done perfectly. That's all I have on that.
It will be done more perfectly someday as they grow up. This pays off for sure. Okay, so get your pens ready for this one, the last one, hiring help. I'll try to say it slowly so you guys get this. Just do it. You're saying you can't afford it? I'm going to challenge you. You can't afford not to. If you want to be diamond in this company, you've got to hire help. I heard a quote recently, I think it was Brooke Hemingway, give credit to. You're not actually broke. You just keep spending your money on things that don't make you money. Hiring help will help you make money. Your time is valuable. You need to do the things for your business that only you can do, and the things for your family that only you can do, but you pay someone else to do the things that anyone can do. cleaning toilets, doing laundry, dishes. The difference between people who hire people and those who don't is a mindset, a scarcity or abundance mindset toward how to make money. That's all I gotta say on that. Well, I don't know if you remember this, but when you were a diamond and I was a ruby, I came to a book club Zoom. It was amazing. Oh my goodness, I hope those are still up there on YouTube somewhere. But for that time, we hired a mama's helper to come over in the mornings so I could take in all the goodness of these 4 diamonds that led this call. And I knew that they were outside playing and nobody was gonna get hurt. They were having their snack. It blessed our sweet neighbor girl. It blessed my kids, somebody new. Fabulous. I was 100% there in that Zoom, and I will tell you that book, 5 Levels of Leadership, done by those women, changed my entire journey ahead. So, I guess there's one more thing to say on that. Sitting down, I often got my cleaners in on Fridays, and sitting down on a Friday afternoon with a clean house, all peaceful, I could play with the kids, read them books or something, to enter the weekend, huge. It was amazing. Okay. Here's our ending. We have 3 new Plexus moms. Shout out to some of our girls on our teams for these photos. So instead of the crazy work queen, we now have the disciplined queen because she has chosen how to use her time. And she has her off time and her kid time and her work time. Instead of overwhelmed victim, we now have an empowered business owner because she has put her schedule and routines in place. And instead of a mom paralyzed by fear, she's joyfully productive because it's fun now to work in her allotted times and her kids working with her. I think that's part of the joy of working Plexus as a mother, is your kids doing this with you.
Yes.
Brings me back. Going sapphire and diamond, I told my kids, I'm like, hey, we're rallying the troops. We have 80 more orders. And they were like, well, we're gonna make a video that you can send out to people that's like, that you gotta join our mom. So those days that I was like, you know, my phone's on fire, they were like out in the backyard with their iPad, like all dressed up in princess and the dragon had like acid reflux, and then they came in with like pink drink. They are hilarious. They're so funny. They felt so excited about it, and I do believe that's maybe how we got in those last orders. I'm like, of course you want to order now, aren't they so cute? So,
And they took great pride in that because they were a part of it.
They were a part of it.
A lot of my ranks, my kids knew exactly what it meant, and we had plans for if it was just me baking a cake. I baked a red velvet cake when I went ruby. Just for, it felt special to them that I did that for them as a celebration. And we did bigger things, of course, later, but those little celebrations together count. So which one do you guys envision yourself being when you go home?
Yeah.
I think this is pretty much our last slide, and we actually have a little time left. Do we let them go earlier, or do we open for a little Q&A?
Ooh, Q&A, Q&A.
If they'll grab a mic, we can maybe take just a couple. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
What was the book that you said you read?
The link is on the way.
My book on mama's scheduling?
Yes.
Managing your time, but it's like a kit. So it's a book that comes with Managers of Your Home. Thank you. Managers of Your Home. So I had the whole schedule kit came with where you could like write out all your schedule. Yes, I did a post about that. You're right. I thought I saw another.
My family and I already own 2 businesses. One is a daily that takes all Saturday, but then we just opened up a new business 7 days a week, and my husband and I are already committed to it 12 to 14 hours a day. So how do you like work something like that in? Plus we have kids at home and sports and school and all that. So when your day is literally 6 to 11 already full of work,
I'm curious why you want to work plexus. What do you want to do with plexus?
I was introduced to it because I've had a lot of physical ailments, and it has completely, ease allows me to live my life. If I don't have ease after 4 days, I literally am in bed all day, can't function.
Why do you have a plexus financial purpose?
Because we're broke. We have everything invested into these businesses, and it would just help us financially.
So it could make a difference for you.
Oh, yeah.
So is there anything you can let go to work this? Because this seems like something that could maybe be a bigger financial investment than some of the time you are putting in now?
It could, and it could really help us, not only with financial, but having that time with our family that my daughter looks at me and this is like, I hate this business right now.
Yeah. I would encourage you to do the shareholder meeting, talk about vision with your family, and maybe come to some decisions that you decide either the plexus is for you and you have to work it in or you don't. It's kind of usually what that kind of comes down to. Yeah, I know. Anyone else? Okay, one more over here.
One question over here.
Yeah, there we are.
I'm curious how you compartmentalize your energy from your home and shifting it into your business and staying high energy for your team, for all things plexus, when you're also like trying to survive in a life of littles.
Number one, at least for me, is I feel that. I feel like everything I do with all my zhuzh, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I'm done for the night, right? But number one, protecting what's going into your mind, who you surround yourself with. I will say, if you are hanging out with people in your business and you just feel so depleted and just done after being around them, they're probably not the people that you need to be spending the most time with. So that is huge. What are you putting into your mind? Who are you spending time with in your plexus business? And then really biting down into that why, like knowing from your spouse. And I mean, even recently, we're like revamping our vision. I'm like, I need to know, like, what are you thinking right now? What are your new hopes and dreams? What's coming for our family? And then it's just discipline, showing up through the exhaustion and the fatigue because you know where you're going. You're like, these are my priorities. It's in my planner. Sick kids happen. What a blessing too that we can sit by our babies and work. Do you know, I ranked up next to, sick children, gotten a lot of work done, so I hope that helps.
Hire some help. Okay, we're done. Thank you all so much for being here.